I think that this band has the coolest name. Wall of Voodoo? That just sounds cool, right? Doesn't it? Like, how would you even draw that? Wall of Voodoo. Anyways, we're going to listen to this band, Wall of Voodoo, with their track Mexican Radio. This is off of their second studio album, released 1982, entitled Call of the West. We're listening to this because it had been suggested by, let me pull up your names here really quickly, Ragudvin, Sidecar Dog, let's see, Mr. Kite, and Catomatic. So thank you guys so much for the suggestion. Like I said, I've never heard of the band, don't know a thing about them, but we're going to learn today. Let's go ahead and dive on in. We'll talk about it a little bit after. Here we go. Interesting. The electronics are definitely doing some work back there.
I feel a hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I turn the switch and check the number. I leave it on when in bed I slumber. I hear the rhythms of the music. I buy the product and never use it. I hear the talking of the DJ. Can't understand just what does he say. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Okay, never heard of the band, but that part sounds familiar. That part sounds familiar. But nothing else does. Who's playing the keyboards in this thing?
I dial it in and tune the station. They talk about the U.S. inflation. I understand just a little. No comprende, it's a riddle. I'm on a Mexican
Like
radio.
this part, this I recognize. Couldn't tell you where, but I hear it.
Whoa, radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican, whoa, radio.
It's so like delightfully weird.
I wish I was in Tijuana, eating barbecued iguana. I take requests on the telephone. I'm on a wavelength far from home. I feel a
This is
hot
fun, the back and
wind on my
forth.
shoulder. I dial it in from south of the border. I hear the talking of the DJ. Can't understand just what does he say. I'm on a Mexican
It's catchy.
radio.
The way he says radio is
I'm
very
on a
catchy.
Mexican, whoa, radio.
With the clops.
I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican, whoa, radio. Radio, 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 radio.
He really is
Radio, radio.
putting some sauce on the radio.
Radio, radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican, whoa, radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican, whoa, radio.
There's that synth again. I mean, it sounds like that's what you would think of like radio waves. So they're capturing that. Many things to say on Mexican radio. First of all, Never heard of the band, never heard of anything about them, never heard of this song, but that part where he goes, "Oh, the Mexican radio," that part sounds familiar. I cannot tell you where or from what, but that part does sound at least mildly familiar. Radio. I love the way he says radio. This whole track is so delightfully weird. It is so just thriving in its eccentricities from the very beginning with that, like I said, that radio frequency-esque sound that I believe that they're clearly going for, to the way that eventually it kind of mixes in with the guitar riff and then it moves into the song, which once again is just, to me, delightfully weird and eccentric. It's catchy. It definitely gets you moving. Has a great groove. Gets stuck in your mind when you radio. You can hear Kermit the Frog doing a cover, but at the same time, I feel like it's also staying true to itself in, like I said, reveling in that weirdness, and thriving in that particular environment. The extra percussion that's brought in, the clop, and then near the end, I don't know what, but some sort of metallic percussion or something else is kind of brought in. It's really interesting. At first, when it was kind of first getting into it, I thought that it was going to have a little bit of like a gothic kind of sound to it, but that was quickly assuaged, I would say. Vocals are going to be performed by Stannard Ridgway. Just great, interesting vocals. And I'd be really curious to see like what else he's capable of, like in some other songs, if you recommend me some or such. And then everyone else, like I said, everyone's doing kind of a lot of different things here. Joe Nannini, percussion, drums, and voice. Chaz T. Gray on synth, bass, and backing vocals. Mark Moreland on the guitars. And then you have some additional musicians here as well. They're just all creating this very kind of interesting, weird club sound is how I describe this. It just, to me, has a weird club sound. I think it's really fun, though. This is a really cool track. I feel a hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I turn the switch and check the number. I leave it on when in bed I slumber. I hear the rhythms of the music. I buy the product and never use it. I hear the DJ talking to the DJ. Can't understand just what does he say. Listen, he puts on the radio. He turns it on to, as he says, and as the title of the track is, Mexican radio. And you know what? He doesn't understand exactly what they're saying, but he's enjoying it. He hears the rhythm of the music. He buys stuff. He's fully into it. Good on him. I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican whoa radio. I promise I won't say it again like that. I dial it in and tune the station. They talk about the U.S. inflation. I understand just a little. No comprende, it's a riddle. I'm on Mexican radio. I wish I was in Tijuana eating barbecued iguana. I took request on the telephone. I'm on a wavelength far from home. I feel a hot wind on my shoulder. I dial it in from the south of the border. I hear the talk of the DJ. Can't understand just what he say. If anyone's eating barbecued iguana, it's definitely us here in Florida. Just saying. Looking at this particular track, it peaked in the US at number 58 on the Billboard Hot 100, also reaching number 18 in Canada, 21 in New Zealand, 33 in Australia, and 64 in the UK. Of course, this song's lyrics describe listening to broadcasts of unregulated Mexican radio stations known as border blasters, whose AM broadcasts are strong enough to be picked up by radio receivers in the US. Is that kind of like pirate radio? I don't know anything about that, but I've vaguely heard of that. It was inspired by car trips taken by frontman Stan Ridgway and guitarist Mark Moreland on their way to rehearsals when they would listen to Mexican broadcasts, preferring their programming to mainstream Los Angeles radio. During one of the band's sessions, Moreland played them a demo tape that he had recorded of himself repeatedly singing the line, "I'm on a Mexican radio." I lied. I said I wasn't going to do it again. I said I wasn't going to do it again. And yet, here we are. There's a lot of different things here. In order to emulate the sounds of AM radio, many of the song's instruments, including the synths, were played through amplifiers rather than being recorded directly through the microphones. So I'm assuming that's why it sounds the way it does. They recorded some of Moreland's guitar through an amplifier placed in the restroom at the back of a studio, and Ridgway sang some of the vocals through a handmade bullhorn. That is so good. And it also includes sound bites recorded by them during one of their trips to Mexico. That is so good. I love the creativity when it comes to the production of things and getting a very particular sound, you know? Let's see. The video includes strange imagery, including a shot of Ridgway's face surfacing from a bowl of beans, Some of the footage shot in Tijuana, Mexico at the bullfights. Also, actor Carol Struiken makes a brief appearance playing the video's director. Never heard of Carol? Maybe it's Carell? Known as the giant fireman in Twin Peaks. I've always heard of it. Don't know a thing about it. He was Lurch in the Addams Family. Okay. What were you in that I know? Besides Lurch in the Addams Family. So far, I'm not seeing anything. Men in Black, Arquillian. You know what? I don't know which character this was in Men in Black, but looking at him, I can kind of see it. Do you think if I do one of these? I did not mean to print. Do you think if I do one of these? Okay, never mind. I lied to you. Oh, he's the guy. He's the bodysuit. Right? Where is it? Here, he's this guy. And then his chest opens up and reveals Little Man inside. Or his head, I should say. Okay. Right? Am I thinking correctly? There he is right there. Okay. We're doing research. Let's go back. Anyway, here's your chart information, which we already read off. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the music. Press that like button before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't already. Patreon is there if you wish. $2 a month. You don't have to. But boy, is it there. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on Just JP Radio. You're listening to Just JP Radio. I couldn't do it.